What's up, guys? Chris here. We're gonna look at just Cathie Wood and her claim. So let's go ahead and listen to her claim.
Unwinding as we believe, we could be heading back towards. Cathie Wood suggests that if inflation is unwinding as we believe, we could be heading back towards the future, the roaring 20s, just like we did in the 1920s. Now, this is
So, not to take things out of context, but basically her claim was that it was just pretty plain that if inflation's coming down, we're going to be heading into the 1920s, or quite possibly, or plausible deniability, this or that. But basically, the thesis is that if inflation's coming down, we're going into the 1920s. So here's an interesting thing. So I took the Eurodollar futures curve. The Eurodollar futures is very similar to the U.S. Treasury yield curve. If not, it's just the cousin or brother of it, or sister, whatever. And it's basically a very similar function. The higher the peaks, the more people are paying for premium to hedge against uncertainty and danger. The deeper the trough is the expected bad event, basically. So, and the problem is the on the way down. On the way down is the risk off. The green zone is when it looks healthy, like a pension plan. We want it to look like a pension plan, and that's where it's highlighted in green. And here is the present. That was 10, 20, 22 when I made this. And we're entering, we've already entered this risk off zone. I call it the risk off zone, consolidation zone. It's basically good to buy at the lows because there's got to be a lot of fragility. It's a fragility window where things are fragile. And when we look for when the next risk on zone is at, it's 2034. So then you kind of have to wonder, okay, if the next green risk on zone is 2034, okay, Cathie Wood is off by 12 years. So then if this is true, how do we verify this? If the Eurodollar futures is true, the accuracy is true by the risk on and when it begins, that is really when the risk on is at. So we have this cycle and we know the length of it and we know periods of when it begins. So within good reason, we figured it out. I went ahead and counted 91 to 2013, subtract 2013 from 1991, it's 22 years. And I'll do it here just to satisfy 2013. Oh, yeah, it'll just 2013 minus 1991. 22 years. There we go. So, if we begin in 91 and then we just keep on leaping back cycles of 22 years, so 69, 47, 25. So then, based on this, we should see a lot of growth because it would be the beginning of the green zone of the Eurodollar futures curve in its cycle. So we should expect a lot of growth in 2025. So based on our chart here, if we were to say, okay, we pretty much went sideways from the what is that 1919 all the way to like I don't know 1924, 1925, and then if that green zone based on our calculator was supposed to begin in 1925, we should expect all the growth to happen after 1925. And lo and behold, that's what it is. Obviously, like I kind of led you to that conclusion, but it was just to support my first claim of verifying that hey, the Eurodollar futures and the cycle thing really works, and just coming to a better estimate of when this roaring 20s growth is going to happen. So if anything, like, don't get too levered on these claims of growth, because we're going to be chopping around and you could lose it all. So it's more of a warning to those who follow Cathie Wood and listen to Cathie Wood that, hey, that's nice that you believe in growth and that it might happen next year, but just don't get carried away with it, because if you lever up too much, you can lose it all. And if anything, it's a good time to buy. It's good to buy at the lows. Anytime the market is so afraid that things are going to blow up, that like people are talking at work just how bad it is, you buy it, because this is a period of fragility where people will part with an asset for liquidity, and you can hoard assets during this fragility window as long as you can make it out alive to 2034, and you could hit a growth period. That's it. It's basically, I wanted to basically confirm Cathie Wood's assessment, but at the same time say how she could have adjusted her forecast. Instead of saying it that it's going to be next year or next 2 years, no, it's roughly 12 years off, 2034, according to the Eurodollar futures curve. And as far as like the inflation guess or condition, that might be wrong as well. So she might be wrong on two accounts, like whoop-de-doo, or no surprise. But it doesn't matter. The goal is to just watch the risk, right? The goal is to not lose as much money. But those are my proof points against Cathie Wood and her thesis about the Roaring Twenties being so close at hand.